Greetings. Thank you for joining today. Greetings. Thank you for joining us today on Strategize. We have a fantastic show today. We're going to be talking about building of the church and church architecture. It is a joy and an honor to have our guest today. You know, St. Peter said in the 16th chapter, Matthew said in the 16th chapter, the 18th verse, upon this rock I build my church. It's an honor and privilege to learn today from a guest who has education, but also experience in architecture and theology. So many questions are today being asked about church, the safety of the church, the needs of the community, the styles of worship, how to maintain your building, finding banks that will work with churches, and even the numerous contractor fees that go involved with keeping the church running. I want you to know building a church is truly a team effort. And after the show today, you're going to learn from an individual who has great expertise and knowledge, who has served the community for many years, Bishop Walter C. Willey. So stay tuned and enjoy the show.
Hey, come on, saints. Oh, let's have church. Well, come on, saints. Let's have church. Hey, come on.
The corner of New Avenue and Mount Avenue. Join us every Sunday at 10 a.m., starting in the month of August. Please remain 6 feet apart. Please wear your face mask. Please remain in your vehicle. We are asking if you're sick or feeling sick, please stay home. All services will be streaming live. Watch our live stream.
Saints. Come on, everybody, put your hands together here. Put your hands together.
WOPKojic.com. WOPKojic.com. Come on, saints, let's have church.
One more time. Let the Holy Ghost move.
Hello, everybody. We're here at Wine Dance National Night Out. We're having a blessed day, and to combine this job here with my wife.
I want you to give a good warm welcome to New York State Senator John Brooks. Come on, clap your hands.
Fabulous Wine Dance National Night Out. Hello, everybody. My name is Jarrett Lewis, and I'm inviting you to connect with me. Connect with me on Instagram, on Facebook also, at jarrettlewis.com. Check out the media tab on jarrettlewis.com. and view our videos on demand. God, they will bless you. And also, don't forget our YouTube channel also. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. I know you will be blessed. Blessings, everybody. Jarrett Lewis Ministries. Pray God's richest blessings upon you. And remember to strategize with the power of God.
Thank you for joining us on today. Our guest today is one of the premier pastors in Suffolk County, New York. His church has done some remarkable things in the community as relates to properties and the building process. In March of 1984, Bishop Willie built from the ground up church, a new edifice, and with godly wisdom, his church totally paid off their church mortgage. Through faithfulness and love for the community, this man of God has served with joy and great honor. It gives me great honor to introduce and to welcome to our show today, Bishop Walter Willie. Welcome, Bishop.
God bless you, Elder Jarrett Lewis, for you doing
Thank
well
you for joining us today.
during this time.
Awesome. I have a few questions here, and I want to thank you for your time and thank you for your
Yes,
wisdom.
sir.
You know, one of the questions people are asking, you know, in the early stages, a leader has a vision, and there are crucial people on his team that give him advice. And the church community makes goals to design a building according to their church culture. But I want to ask you, what is the most important advice in sharing your vision for building a church? What is the most important advice?
The most important advice is cost factor, location, where the church building will be located, location, and also will it be in a area where people live at or industrial area. So the location is very crucial because a church should be where the people is at, in a residential area if possible. So cost factor, location, and then that leader must recognize the team he or she is working with to make this come into fruition.
That's awesome. Thank you, Bishop. I really hear your advice and your wisdom already. It's really being beneficial because there are so many people who have a goal and a dream to build. And your experience as a pastor and an architect is incredible. What are the top 3 principles you've learned from putting together your plan to build? What are the top 3 principles?
Well, you got to stay, a vision is great, but you got to know your limitations. You got to recognize the people that's with you, the community that you're living in, the resources that come to your possession, because it's starting where you're at, it's getting the right resources and knowing the people that will work with you and catch your vision to make it come into fruition.
Wow, that's incredible. That's incredible. Go ahead, Bishop. Go ahead.
So these things are very crucial because many times that leader has a vision, but that leader got to ask some questions. Do he have the right people around him to understand, to outline, to plan out the vision he wants for the location? A vision is one thing, but when you begin to lay out a building, buy a building, start a building, you got to have somebody that understand what it takes to build a building, renovate a building, the location, where it ought to be at, and the accessibility for the people you want to draw to your ministry.
Wow, that's incredible. That's incredible. You said so much, which means a lot. And when you think about it, I look at the example of your church. I've watched your church since I was a little boy, and I lived in that vicinity of Amityville. And the motto of your church has always been, "The Lord will provide." And when Solomon was building the temple, you know, uh, in First Chronicles 29 1 through 9, David gave first, and then the leaders gave. And when the people saw that the leaders sacrificed, then the people began to have joy and support the leader. My question to you is, when you're getting your finances together, when you're planning your capital campaign, should the church save all of money, then build? Or should the church save half of the money and build? Or should the church borrow the money and build? I believe that's one of the questions of the day.
Well, if the church can save the money to build, that's wonderful. But in our culture, especially in our communities, we know that our people sometimes don't have the resources to invest to that church. So many times in our communities, a lot of leaders want to build a building or renovate a building and don't have the resources. So sometimes, whether the church raised, they take that, start a project, and realize that the money runs out real fast, and now they try to borrow money, which sometimes the banks don't like to loan money to the churches because it's not a guarantee, that you're gonna get the money back. So they are afraid that if they loan the church money, they don't want to close on the church. And a church, is a voluntary concept. People could come Sunday or bring in the funds, and then they may not come at all. So you don't have no guaranteed resources in a church building. It's a voluntary effort. So that leader got to have a plan, got to have a vision. You try to save the most you can, at the same time operating on an every day or every week, for the good of the church. And it's hard to save money and spend money every month for your monthly bills.
This is good. This is good. Bishop, you're giving so much wisdom, so much knowledge, and I can tell how fluent you're saying it. You have a great wisdom and a wealth of knowledge that people really need to hear, especially in this subject. There are many stages to construction. My father being a builder, and I've learned from him, you got, for a church, you got to have the right zoning, then you got inspections, then you got the
Yes.
contractors, then you got weather. Sometimes we're building in the winter, then you got staffing, safety, and even the materials and the supplies. And even sometimes the people get impatient because it takes longer
Yes.
than what it should take. How do you deal with all of those challenges when you're doing the work as a pastor? How do you deal with that?
Well, when Nehemiah went back to Jerusalem to help rebuild the walls, he had to have patience. Then he had to have a team that worked with him. And he had to recognize that it's going to take time to rebuild, to establish something. He did have some help, though. The king gave him, some loans, which helped him out. But in many of our cases, we don't get that from other people. In a church, if you're part of an organization, sometimes they may support you or assist you. But many churches that's by themselves, you're independent, you got to do it by yourself. And so therefore, it sounds good to start a church, to have a church, but it takes a lot of patience, finance, a good team. Well, you need some team that going to catch your vision, and it's going to take time because it takes finance to construct a building, buy a building, or renovate a building. So in a church, you want to first of all find out that it's a church in the right location. Because if it's not in the right location and you put a building up in the wrong location, the people may have a hard time finding your church, coming to that location. That's why that leader, before they buy a building, start a building, or renovate a building, it's good to find out the location, where they're going to draw their people from, and how they expect to have a plan for 5 years, 10 years, 20-year plan, so that people can come out and find where that building is going to be at. So location is key. Some pastors was given a building, so they had to start right there. But others that has the ability to find their own building, they need to research or ask somebody in that field to give them some tips, to give them some advice. Where should I plant a church? What's a good area to plant a church? That's crucial.
Bishop, you're giving so much good advice here. I'm really excited that you took the time to share with us. And there's a lot of people listening. I had two questions off the top of my head that we probably didn't discuss previously, but one of the questions I have, if you had to do anything different, what is one thing you have done different? And do you have a short story, perhaps, sharing us about how God blessed you in your building process?
It's amazing. This building that I was able to build here is on the corner. It's on the main street in Amityville. And my original vision was to go to another town because the church I came out of was in Amityville, and I didn't want my pastor to feel that I'm trying to be in the same town he was. So out of concern and love for my leader, I didn't want to build in Amityville at first. But the Lord said, go back to Amityville and build in Amityville. And this location I'm at now, because I understood architectural, again, the location, I understood planning, all that was in consideration, this land was vacant. And the woman that owned this land never seen the land. She bought it. She lived in Georgia. It's probably her dream house land. And when I called her up and asked her for this land, to consider this land, she said, this is my dream house. What do you want to do with that land? I said, I want to build a church. When I told her that, she was willing to sell us at that time the land. It was vacant. The land, I had out-sketched the building, the parking lot, so where the building could be on the church and everything. I said, you know what? It has enough land to build a building and the parking lot so the people be comfortable. Because the town got certain zone laws, which you got to understand. And a lot of pastors who are not a builder or in that field had no idea. They got to understand you need a certain amount of parkings for so many people for the size of that building.
Amazing.
So God gave us favor.
Amazing. Yes, the favor of God. Do you know any one thing you might have done differently?
Well, I was young when I started the church. I was young. I didn't have no godfather. My parents had no resource. So I had to start scratch and believe in God and trust in God and hope for a miracle. At the same time, I couldn't be foolish and say, I'm just going to do something. So I had to lay out, and because I was in that field of architecture, I knew what it was going to cost to build a building here. I knew what revenue I would need to complete a building. And so a good business person invests in their building, invest in their business for the first 5 years. You never take out of your business for at least 5 years, because it's going to take at least 5 years for that business to get settled. So I knew that I was working, and I said that, well, every dime the church raised, they're going to need it to go into the building phase. And I know that by me being a young man, people say, well, what this young man is doing. So I know that I will not get a lot of support from people around me because of my age at that time. So I have to depend totally on the Lord. So what would I do differently? Same thing. I would trust in God. That's why God
All
gave me
right.
the motto, the Lord will provide. Before I started the building, he said, I will provide for you what you need. And God has been doing that from day one.
Oh, this is awesome. This is awesome. I'm so excited. Bishop, thank you, Sharon. I have one more question. And, you know, the CO, Certificate of Occupancy, is issued by the building department. And the purpose of the CO is to say that the building's in compliance and you met the codes. Besides
Yes.
the CO, what should there be, or what should be the focus of the pastor or the leader in completing the building besides the CO?
Well, that building ought to be comfortable for the people. You got to realize it's going to be a public assembly. That means you have all kind of people coming to that church, right? So that pastor should, if he don't know, again, ask somebody who has the knowledge and wisdom, what do a church need? It's going to need handicapped bathroom for people who are handicapped. It's going to need handicapped railing for people who come up in wheelchairs. And many times, that's not, a lot of pastors don't realize you're going to need these things in your churches. You're going to need, in our churches, you're going to need a place of, I call it a fellowship place. Because when you're being in church for about 3 or 4 hours in a church, people got to have time to go sit somewhere and relax and meditate. So once you leave the sanctuary, you're going to need a space where you come together and sit down and have a breather. So all those things must be considered and taken into consideration. That building cannot just be a sanctuary only. You need space for office, space for ministries. So it depends on the vision of that pastor. You know, if you got a small vision, you have a small church. But if you plan to have, if you got a good vision, you got to provide all other necessary areas for the people for now and the future. Because you're building for it not just today, you're building also for tomorrow.
Wow, this is great. This is fantastic. This is like a powerful class. You know, so many pastors, so many female or male pastors are going through the situation right now. They need someone with wisdom. Some of them have big buildings. Some of them have older buildings. They're trying to maintain those older buildings. And COVID-19 has really changed a lot. Bishop Willie,
Yes.
what is your contact information? I believe that there are so many people. They may not even be a pastor. They might be a part of a membership who may be needing to connect with somebody with wisdom and knowledge that they can be guided and directed and help at this time. What is your contact information that people can get in contact with you and perhaps they can have a connection and learn more to help develop their vision and you can be a blessing to them? How can people get in contact with you?
Sure. They can always call my church. My church number is 631-842-3521. Again, 631-842-3521. Or they can email me. My email is my church name is all one. It's Prayer Tabernacle, PRAYERTABERNACLE. Again, that's Prayer Tabernacle, PRAYERTABERNACLE @AOL.com. I'm here to assist, to help out, because again, a lot of pastors need some people that understand some direction, how to build, how to renovate, the resources, and the main thing is that leader must be honest within themselves. They got to know their limitation. They can't look at another minister because God give each minister something differently. So you got to find out and be honest, what is my limitation? It's good to have 500 people or 1,000, 5,000, but you got to ask your question, can I handle, can I handle a large group? Or am I in the right location to handle so many people? Long Island
Thank you,
is
Bishop.
different.
You're right. You're right. Long Island is different. You're
It's
so
different.
right.
It's
I want to say
Long
thank you,
Island.
Bishop.
You're welcome.
Go ahead, Bishop. Go ahead.
So Long Island is not like down south. They call it church country, right? Long Island is not a church country. The people are here, but if you look at Long Island, Nassau, Suffolk County, or even New York City, majority of the people do not go to church. Because why? New York City is the epic of the world. Everything you want is in New York City or Long Island. So the challenge for us out here is that you may want a big building, but to build a big building and the membership is not there, you're going to have a greater expense. And you need people to meet your budget. Because how big building you got, if you don't have the membership to meet your budget, then you're going to have some issues, some challenges. You build according to your size.
Wow. Thank you so much for your wisdom, your insight, and your just compassion to see others grow and develop. Let me just say, I am honored just to know you since a young man, and I've learned so much from you. Keep up the good work. Certainly, we'll be in contact in the future, and I really admire everything you've done. You're such a great example to many people, and I want you to know that we love you, appreciate you, and keep up the good work. I want everybody to stay tuned, and we have a little bit more in the show, and I want to say just stay tuned.
I pray that you were blessed by this broadcast on today. Consider making a financial contribution or donation to our TV program. Perhaps you can give $20 or $50 or even $100. We are empowering lives with the gospel of Jesus Christ. There are two ways you can make a financial contribution: by Cash App or mailing in your offering. For Cash App, $JERITT LEWIS. It's $JERITT LEWIS. Or you can mail in your donation to 831 Sycamore Avenue in Bohemia, New York, 11716. Once again, there are two ways to give. You can give by Cash App or by mailing in your donation. For Cash App, it's $JERITT LEWIS. Or mailing your donation to 831 Sycamore Avenue in Bohemia, New York, 11716. Thank you, and may God richly bless you.
I want to say thank you to our technician, Brother Al Garvin, who's did a marvelous job. Thank you, Bishop Willie, for taking time out of your schedule. And then finally, thank you, everyone, for watching this show. I pray that you were blessed and encouraged. To all the members of Prayer Tabernacle, share this. Certainly, they have a wonderful ministry, wonderful people in the city and the village of Amityville there. But there might be pastors, members who are watching this who need to be encouraged and may have some difficulties. I found Bishop Willie to be a great man of wisdom, and certainly I pray that he will bless you. Stay tuned for our next show. We have some wonderful things in store. And I always want you to remember to strategize with the power of God. Have a blessed day.